research caves, where they stored things, and this needs to be looked into right now. So it fits in with what I've been told. Aaron Dykes, again, tried to make a film there. This is 97, 98% confirmed. I hope it's false, the severity of it. But just 2 days ago, we had a Department of Defense cyclotron explosion, some type of railgun experiment that blew a laboratory up. I mean, I'm living in the middle of Buck Rogers land. They've got bioweapons out at the monkey farm. I've got multiple sources on that. They admit it's level 4. It's level 4. Look up level 4 bioweapons research at University of Texas, Galveston. That's admitted, out on the water. And they've already built, since Bush, 36 more of these around the country. Now they're planning or completing 200 plus more. We've done shows on this, but it just clicked. Oh, hey, go do stories on the nuclear reactor, and the word is there's waste under the LBJ thing. Oh, Aaron's like, oh, yeah, I tried to do a film on that. Threatened to arrest our guys. Oh, really? Yeah, my dad was in the physics department as a student. He said there was all sorts of stuff down in there on the top of the reactor. We'll go out to J.J. Pickle. All right, we'll go out tomorrow to where the railgun blew up. We got to get out to that monkey farm. Yeah, but that's a couple of miles past Barbar to get to that. It's like Area 51. All right, well, by the way, my grandpa was the head of maintenance, and he said they dumped it all in the caves. I mean, it's just like, yeah, there it is. Southern Research, Galveston National Laboratory to develop screening platform in biosafety level 4 laboratory. And they call it developing safety to have a level 2 and level 4. Level 4 is weaponized Ebola, weaponized pox. I mean, we're talking killed 90+% deader than a hammer. So they just put that on screen. Okay, enough. It's just that I realize I've got all these hours talking about where the country's going, the election, Lew Rockwell coming up, Governor Gary Johnson, Libertarian presidential candidate. And then I realized that none of that even really matters in the final equation, because no one's talking about all the level 4 bioweapons labs. No one's talking about all over the country, right through to today in Indiana and Michigan and Illinois and Texas and California. Now you see it every few weeks. Oh, yeah, nuclear alarms went off. They're not going to turn them on anymore, when it gets released. Yeah, they did release, in this town in Canada or this town in California, a bunch of radiation, but they say it's no big deal. Yeah, radiation detectors went off, but it's fine. We've raised the levels to say it's safe. See, these reports fit into everything we've seen in other areas of the country, where they just go and store it in a cave or in an underground warehouse right outside town. And the fact that his grandfather, when we went out and looked yesterday, and I know how these limestone caves work, it's like at my house. I live by a dry creek bed, but when it rains for a week straight, all of a sudden water starts gushing out of the rocks, and there's a big, luscious, 5-foot deep creek behind my house. Only like that a few months out of the year. I live out in the country, and it's a creek feeding into a bigger creek. But even the big creek, is only running about half the time, and it just comes out. And his grandfather was telling him how water would just pour out over all this into the Colorado River. I mean, this is amazing. This is amazing. And we're again, breaking this here. We hope that we're incorrect, but I don't think his grandfather is. We went out there. It's exactly what they said was out there. Pretty amazing. Okay, let's go to this. Tom Woods is a researcher, an author, friend, confidant of Ron Paul, speaks at most of his big events, and he's a man of conscience like Ron Paul, who is a constitutionalist, who loves liberty, who understands the New World Order, who understands dependency. I agree with his constitutional ideas that transcend even libertarianism and the globalists trying to co-opt that. And Woods, eloquently in 3.5 minutes, said some really powerful things. And then they noticed that the video was taken down, but people had already copied it. And I saw a comment on the Daily Poll by Woods saying, well, I don't want to, rub salt in the wound. I want to trust in Paul that he's not going to endorse, even though we're hearing rumors of that, and that I'm getting more information. Well, then we talked to him this morning. He's like, I'm going to wait and see. I think my video may do more harm than good. No. Tom, your video will do nothing but good when you point out the head of Campaign for Liberty thinks that we shouldn't be against these wars and shouldn't be involved in foreign policy. American citizens have that right and duty. Ron Paul is dead on. That's the heart of what you're saying. There should be a top-down review of all these big, famous neocon operatives who say on the Campaign for Liberty site, I'm a seasoned operative. They call themselves that. We don't want that. We want statesmen. We don't want compromise. We want principles. We don't want business as usual. That's why Ron Paul was loved. And if Rand wants to make the mistake, look, Rand Paul is out today saying you got to have a warrant for drones. He wants a federal law. Those laws are already in place. Just enforce them. Good job. He's saying don't arrest Amish for selling milk. Let people buy raw milk. He's out fighting the Federal Reserve. He's doing a great job. It's that we love you guys, that we don't want to see you co-opted. And we're coming in trying to drag you away from the hyenas. And some people don't understand that, a small minority, maybe 15%. And then they basically growl back at us saying, let us have Rand Paul and Ron Paul. You stay out of this. Folks that built this coalition, the people that gave the money and gave the shoe leather on the street to get the word out and calling into talk radio and doing countless shows and rallies. Ron Paul belongs to us. Rand Paul belongs to us, and we're not going to let the New World Order take them. We can understand that he thinks he can work with Romney and that he was led to do this, and I can see the politics. But we want to see you radically turn back, Rand, towards being a purist when it comes to liberty and freedom. Because you will destroy yourself if you don't, and you guys, we need you as statesmen and icons, your father especially. Look at your father. Respect him. Do what he's done. Don't defend Mitt Romney and when people bring up the fact that he's diametrically opposed to your father and twist it, like I heard you do on CNN, that, oh, no, he's against the wars. Oh, no, he wants to do something to the Fed. Oh, no, he doesn't. And Rand, when Mitt Romney gets in, that's what it looks like now. That he's not a ringer, the establishment wants him. That's the momentum, unless Obama stages a new war or blows something up. What are you going to do when he's for predator drones in America and checkpoints and police state and new wars? You're going to have your wagon hitched like Chuck Baldwin, who got your father's endorsement for president when your father got cheated out of the nomination 4 years ago. He endorsed Chuck Baldwin Constitution Party. And Chuck has said exactly what I've said. It's called Chuck Baldwin, A Warning to Ron Paul. It's on Infowars.com right now. The video, a partial transcript. Listen to Chuck Baldwin. Listen to Tom Woods. Listen to these people. Okay, you can turn this around. You're going to lose, I'd say, 80 to 90% of your support. And then when people see you go along with Mitt Romney later down the road, it's over. Please don't do this. Liberty will continue on. And you guys as a focal point and a rallying point, we have really won some big battles here. Okay, here's Tom Woods, very eloquent. Then we'll go to break, come back with a quick report from the InfoWars crew member about the report we shot yesterday. Aaron Dykes, myself, and others will have a report done by tonight that's got video, details. There needs to be a major investigation of the cave system out by the dam off Red Bud Trail off the Colorado River known as Ladybird Lake. It's all doublespeak. It's a river, folks, but they call it a lake. Only in the New World Order. This needs to be looked into. This is very dangerous news. We're breaking. Here's Tom Woods.
Congressman Paul, this message is for you, but I thought the sentiments in it were important enough that they should be heard by anybody who cares to listen. One of my favorite parts of Brian Doherty's new book, Ron Paul's Revolution, takes place on page 3, where Doherty's been talking about the Giuliani moment of 2007, where you spoke some forbidden truths about the U.S. government's foreign policy, truths the whole world knows, but which are not allowed to be expressed in the United States, and Giuliani attacked you. The whole world expected you to back down, but as a matter of fact, you actually amplified your points. And on page 3 of this book, Doherty quotes just a regular American who said, I was watching that debate, and I was fully expecting Ron Paul, without a friend in the world, to back down. And then he amplified his points. And I felt like at that moment, this guy says, the world changed forever. Because in our society, whenever anybody strays from the 3x5 card of approved opinion, well, it's always followed by apologies and retractions and clarifications. There's a liturgical ritual of expiation that one undergoes, and you refuse to do that. And it did change the world forever. One of my favorite memories from the campaign this time around is actually a photograph of a college student actually hugging you. You had changed his life. When was the last time somebody hugged Mitt Romney and said, Mitt, your philosophy changed my life? And this is all because of who you are. You've been that man who refuses to go along, who will not be absorbed into the establishment, who's going to tell us those forbidden truths. And that's why you've given people such genuine hope. People feel like, here's that one honest man who can't be bought and his arm can't be twisted. And let's contrast that with Mitt Romney. Mitt Romney, for one thing, thinks that budget cuts cause depressions. Or even worse, I'll just give you 5 words about Mitt Romney. Secretary of State John Bolton. Now, I understand that you're under tremendous pressure to endorse Mitt Romney. And the people who are urging you to do this, and I am certain I know who they are, and I've warned you about them, do not have your best interests at heart. The millions of kids you've inspired would be totally devastated. Your legacy would be destroyed. And people would literally be in tears over this. Now, 99 times out of 100, I would assume there's no way Ron Paul is going to endorse Mitt Romney, who disagrees with him on every major thing. But I can understand the appeal someone might make to a father, saying, you love your son, you want to help your son, don't you? And people, I'm sure, are telling you that you would help your son by endorsing Romney. But Rand is going to sink or swim on his own merits. That has nothing to do with whether or not you endorse Mitt Romney. And incidentally, may I say parenthetically that all this needs to be accompanied by a top-to-bottom reform of the organization Campaign for Liberty. For example, the gentleman running it right now believes the organization should steer entirely clear of foreign policy. Now, like it or not, the head of Campaign for Liberty is implicitly the custodian of the Ron Paul legacy, and this is not an appropriate person to be in charge of an office like that. Finally, Dr. Paul, I truly believe you are a great man. And one of the great privileges of my life has been to be involved in this movement that you've led, to have spoken at so many of your events, including the Rally for the Republic, to have worked with you on projects, and to have had my own work endorsed by you. Dr. Paul, you changed the world in 2007. Don't change it back. Just be Ron Paul, and millions of us will support you. We love you, Ron.
And we love the focal point it created to expose the globalist and false flag terror and CIA drug dealing. I mean, Ron Paul is the real deal. He could have sold out the system a long time ago. And there's Tom Woods voicing very concisely what I've been trying to say in hours of babble. And it's a lot of other stuff. I mean, some of his family's been upset. A lot of people inside the campaign have been upset. Rand and Ron's crew. This is real, folks. We're battling in a tug of war to keep the polls pure. That's what's happening with a bunch of political operatives. We'll be right back. For a long time, you've heard me talk about building your own.
You can run.
Okay, we've got some big breaking news here. It'll be codified and detailed tonight on the Nightly News, and then more on Friday. This is all moving very quickly. The University of Texas has been involved with Los Alamos and other national laboratories, Sandia National Laboratories out in New Mexico as well. There is a reactor that down under the LBJ Presidential Library, they built on it. I know because my father was in there as a UT student, as a physics student. And you can dig around and find, mentions